Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate everybody who's been returning and has watched the last few videos. If you've not, feel free to go back and watch. My last week of phase one, but it's been enough time at this point. Figure I can go ahead and start unpacking everything, unpacking my thoughts from the experience, everything like that. So gonna be a little bit of a different video. Instead of just watching me here in front of a camera, figure I'll just talk over a couple of workouts from the last couple of days. And stick around to the end to find out, kind of what's gonna be going on this channel going forward, what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna go on to phase 2 and 3. And other than that, please like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and we will catch up with you here in just a little bit. Okay, again, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you all enjoy this voiceover of a couple workouts since I completed phase 1. At the time of this voiceover, it's been 5 days since I completed phase 1, and I tried to shoot this video and do this voiceover before, but honestly it just wasn't very good, so decided to take another couple days, collect my thoughts a little bit more, organize them, and take another crack at it. So hope you enjoy it. So starting with a recap of the 75 hard and phase 1 tasks, what are you supposed to do every day? So for 75 hard, for anybody who does not know what that is, it's the first part of I think it's called the Live Hard program, created by Andy Frisella. And it involves doing a specific set of tasks for 75 days straight. If you fail or don't complete one of the tasks on one of the days, you start back over from day 1. So those tasks are 2 workouts per day for at least 45 minutes each workout, and one of the workouts has to be outside. So for this, what I did is, like I said in a previous video, working out every day has not been a problem for me in the past, specifically gym workouts. It's something I've really always enjoyed doing, so not necessarily something that I really had to change my entire schedule around. But what I did notice is that compared to my gym workouts before 75 hard, I realized that I was really just kind of going through the motions. I didn't really have a whole lot of intensity with my workouts. Was just a little bit complacent. The time duration I realized was probably much shorter than 45 minutes. It was kind of just getting in, getting a pump, and just kind of getting out and throwing around some weight. So the gym workouts are, something that I did pretty much every day unless I was away from the gym during a particular day. And then for my second workouts every day, most of it was an outdoor walk. Really enjoyed this for the most part when I first started. And then I did get a little bit bored probably about halfway through, and was getting kind of frustrated that I just didn't know what else to do outside. So I started, I went out and I bought a jump rope, and I started watching some videos on how to do some kind of jump rope techniques, and learning that. And it was actually a really enjoyable experience for me. And up until probably 2 weeks out or so, I was doing jump roping pretty much every day for 45 minutes, and that was a crazy hard workout. If you haven't tried to do jump roping for 45 minutes, it is a really, really tough way to work out. So that's what I did pretty much every day when I was traveling, or if I was away from the gym. I would just throw in an extra, outdoor workout, usually either running or, another jump rope session, whatever it was, just to make sure I was doing at least my 2 workouts. The second task is to do a progress picture every day. Take a progress picture every day. From what I've heard, this is the area that most people end up failing at. They just forget to take the picture. And that is one of the tasks. So If you forget it and you go through that day, you got to start all the way back over from day one. So kind of a disappointing way, I think, for a lot of people to end up failing 75 hard and having to start over. What I did to make sure that didn't happen is I actually bought the 75 hard app that has a list of all the tasks and all that good stuff on it. And you can set different reminders. So made sure to just do that. And I set the reminder for every morning. When I woke up, I had a reminder that hit just a couple minutes after I woke up to go and take that progress picture just to make sure I didn't forget. Reading 10 pages of a real nonfiction book is the next task here. Reading 10 pages a day for a lot of people, I don't think sounds very hard. But it's a lot harder than I expected it to be, mostly just because of the speed at which I read. It's definitely nothing groundbreaking. So doing this and having the discipline to do that every day, even if I didn't necessarily love the book that I was reading at the time, just making sure that I was always getting that in was important for me. I tended to wait when I did 75 hard to do it at the end of the day, but when I went into phase 1, I moved that to the beginning of the day just to knock it out early, because when I want to go to bed, I want to go to bed, and I don't want to have to think about having to do another task or read another 10 pages that could take me 25-30 minutes. One of the last tasks for 75 hard is to follow a diet. This one right here is it's left open to interpretation. There is not a specific diet like a lot of people think there is. A lot of people think it's following a fad diet or whatever it is. The diet that you follow is 100% up to you. What I did, it just for simplicity's sake, is I took my goal weight of what I wanted to get out of 75 hard, and I did this for phase 1 as well. I multiplied that by 12. That was my calorie intake for the day. And for the other side of it, I just wanted to make sure that I got at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight for where I was at that day. So if I woke up at 200 pounds, my goal for that day was to eat my calorie count as accurately as possible and get at least 200 grams of protein for that day. So I wanted to keep it really simple. I could have gone through and done all the calculations and all that other kind of fun stuff, but this seemed to work for a lot of people. I decided to give it a try, and this approach worked really well for me too. Again, simplicity is kind of key on this program, and just to make sure that you're getting everything in and done. And then the last thing on 75 hard is to not drink any alcohol. I think this is a reason that a lot of people start, including myself a little bit, just to, make sure that, hey, this has become a habit for a while. Let's make sure that we can go 75 days and just see what happens with not having any alcohol during that time. So this is, I think, for a lot of people, kind of scary, restricting yourself this much in different social settings. And for me, for a little bit, that was definitely an issue, just kind of from a social setting perspective. I didn't want to go out because of that. But eventually I kind of got over it and actually learned to be a little bit more proud of it than I had been previously. So those are the tasks on 75 hard. Again, if you fail one of the tasks on any given day, it doesn't matter if you're on day 2 or day 74, you need to start back over from day 1 and complete all the tasks in a row. Phase 1 in the Live Hard program, so the way that it goes is 75 hard. When you complete that, the next phase is phase 1, then there's phase 2 and phase 3. Each phase builds on each other. So the phase 1 tasks are all of the tasks from 75 hard. So the 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes each. One of them has to be outside. take a progress picture, read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, follow a diet, no alcohol, plus 3 extra tasks. Those 3 extra tasks are 3 critical tasks per day. I made another video on this, so I won't go too far into it. Feel free to go back and watch that video. I think it's called Achieving Your Goals with Critical Tasks. For this one, they tended to change in the beginning of phase 1, but then as I went forward, there's some habits that I really wanted to forge that I knew were going to be critical to me getting towards what my goals were. And again, from high level perspective, those were waking up at 5 a.m. every day, completing a study unit of Japanese, so learning to become bilingual, specifically learning Japanese. And the last one was that I wrote out a list of the things that, in my mind, the person who is the absolute best in my field, in my industry, what they did on a daily and weekly basis, and start working towards those goals and being as specific as possible with those tasks. So those were my 3 critical tasks toward the end of it. Again, if you want to hear me break it down a little bit more, head back to that video, and I've got a little rant there at the end. The next is a 5-minute cold shower. The 5-minute cold shower, you probably heard in every video that I did. I hated it. I really, really did, which actually really surprised me, because about a year ago, I had done cold showers for about a month straight, and I was that guy that was all, dopamine hit out the roof. I was telling everybody about it, how great it was. But looking back, I realized, the biggest difference was that I was only in there for a couple minutes at that time. Adding those extra few minutes to total 5 minutes in a cold shower, that is a really, really hard thing for me to do. And it was hard all the way till the end. I never got used to it, which I think in my mind at least means that I did it right. I wasn't just sticking out on a pretty cold setting. I was making sure that I was as cold as possible. And then the last one was 10 minutes of dedicated visualization every day. Now, this one, I would say, probably became the hardest for me, because there's obviously such a big difference in meditation versus visualization. Meditation, you're just trying to pay attention to the breath and just empty your mind. Meanwhile, visualization is all about thinking what you want your life to look like, how those different things came to fruition, just kind of imagining that you've already hit those goals. Getting into that state to quiet my mind enough to where I'm not thinking about all of the other things that I have to do throughout the day, but also thinking hard enough about what those goals were, what those what I wanted my life to look like, and be as specific as possible. That was really, really difficult for me during the 30 days for phase 1. So yeah, those are all the tasks for both 75 hard and phase 1. I should mention, for phase 1, if you fail any of the tasks during that, or any of the anything on any given day, you don't start back over from the beginning of 75 hard. You start back over from the beginning of phase 1, so those 30 days. So I know the big question that a lot of people were asking me while I was doing this program is, why I started. And honestly, I don't have a great answer. I kind of started 75 hard on a whim one day. Had just finished up a weekend hanging out with a bunch of friends. Had a lot of fun that weekend, but also just kind of started realizing how unhealthy I had become. So I wanted to push myself. I wanted to figure out a challenge that I could do. I had heard of 75 hard before. I had actually tried it once before and made it like 2 or 3 days, and then just said that I'm just not gonna do it anymore. So I decided that instead of just figuring out a diet and an exercise plan and sticking to that, I wanted to go full force into a program that I knew was going to be really, really hard and really push myself. So the goals that I had in starting 75 Hard were, at the time, I believe I was about 210 pounds, and I wanted to get down to 190. I was there a few years ago when I was really into triathlon training, and I remember feeling really, really good at that weight. So that was really the only goal that I had from getting through 75 Hard was, sticking to the diet and getting that end result and that end weight. After I completed 75 Hard, I kind of said there's no way I'm doing phase 1. I think that's a little bit too crazy. And then, the holidays hit. I finished 75 Hard in the middle of October. The holidays came in pretty hard with Thanksgiving and everything like that. And I just started to feel bad about myself again and my discipline. So I decided to go back on phase 1 and start that. I actually planned it out a little bit more this time, really thought about the goals that I wanted to hit. And yeah, those goals were, I hit my goal weight of 190 during 75 Hard. I actually got a little bit below that. And I decided that I wanted to get down to 180 as far as my fitness goals went, but I also wanted to gain a lot more strength on my compound lifts, which, as I'm sure you know, if you are decreasing your weight and trying to increase the pounds on all your lifts and your strength, it's a really hard thing to do, but I was pretty confident that with the right training program, I could do that. And fortunately, I did, as I've kind of alluded to in a few of the past videos that I had. The biggest challenges that was another question that I got a lot is, what sucks about 75 Hard in phase 1, pretty much. The three biggest ones were, going out, how this impacted some other people around me, and obviously some injuries along the way. Before 75 Hard, going out was probably my favorite thing. I'm not talking about staying out till 2 a.m. I'm just talking about going out, eating, having a drink, hanging out with friends. I would say that, this kind of turned me into a little bit more of an introvert. And that was weird for a lot of people that knew me. So that was one of the big challenges. And that's also kind of goes hand in hand with, impacting the lives of some of the other people around me. If they did want to go out or they wanted to hang out and then just kind of felt weird that I wasn't drinking and they didn't want to be the only ones, sitting up at the bar and drinking while I just had a soda water or something like that. And then lastly, I think like with any workout program, especially when you just kind of go as hard as possible right off the bat, you're going to have some kind of injury. Whether that's, long lasting or not, that's kind of up to you. For me, I felt, some kind of small injuries coming into play in my elbow or my lower back, or, with jump roping so much, I started to get some shin splints. So instead of just ignoring those problems and kind of going about this kind of full force still, what I did is I just took a different approach to some of the training. I didn't go quite as heavy towards the end. I took out jump roping and added back in a lot more walking, because that didn't bug me quite as much. I just made sure that I was recovering as much as possible while still doing everything as intently as possible. And I carried that over into phase 1. I did not get nearly as beat up in my body on phase 1, which was great for me. And the last thing that I want to talk about in these clips is just the three main things that I learned. And first and foremost, I regained a lot of my discipline that I feel like I used to have when I was a little bit younger, a little bit more excited in my career and all those kind of fun things. I regained a lot of the discipline that came with that, and that ended up being what I wanted most out of 75 hard, and especially when I got into phase one, thinking about it not being a fitness program and a lot more of a mental toughness program like it's supposed to be. The next is I just realized I could do a lot more than I expected at the time. That sounds a little cliche. I think everybody knows that they can do a lot more. But this proved it to myself. It wasn't just me trying to complete a challenge just for the sake of completing something. I really found out just how much I can do and how much I can push myself. And then lastly, and this, kind of goes hand in hand with everything else, is I stopped blaming outside things and people and forces for some of the circumstances that I was having at work, and any grudges that I was holding towards others for things that were happening. And I started to take control and just realize that there are some things that I cannot control in my life, but I can control how I'm reacting to them, how I'm preparing for those instances, and yeah, just making sure that I'm not, viewing myself as a victim of circumstances, and start realizing that I have control over what has happened in these different scenarios. So I know I just kind of rambled on for, 20 minutes now over these clips. Didn't even butt in once to talk about the workout like I kind of thought I would, but felt it was important for me to go ahead and get all this out. And appreciate everybody who has watched this video so far, and stick around for the future of this channel and all that kind of fun stuff coming up here in the live clip. So now that we're done with phase one, what am I going to keep doing and keep implementing in my life? For starters, obviously I'm going to keep working out. That's something that I love. I've alluded to it a couple times. It's not something that's been an issue for me in the past, but some other sides of fitness have been, and that's what I'm gonna keep implementing. I'm going to try and stick as closely to the diet as what I was doing on phase one. I don't know if I'll be quite as strict about tracking everything. I'm not going to limit some of the things that I can do as much, but I am going to generally try and stick to a high protein diet. It works really well for me. I see a lot of progress when I stick to that kind of diet. And I don't necessarily want to lose a lot more weight. I'm pretty happy with how I'm looking right now. There's a couple things here and there that I'd like to improve, but I would like to focus a lot more on the fitness side instead of losing weight. I'm also going to keep doing my critical tasks. I'm going to keep the three so far that I've been doing, the waking up early, studying Japanese, and the things at work that I've been talking about, at least until I feel that they've become a true habit for me. So I'm going to keep up with doing that as well. And lastly, I am going to start throwing in a little bit more cardio into my weeks. I used to love doing cardio. I used to be a big runner and cyclist, and that's kind of gone away over the last few years. I've just kind of changed what my fitness looks like for me. So those are the things that I am going to continue implementing into everyday life. If you don't know, between phase 1 and 2, you have to you have to take a 30-day break at least. And that's because you're supposed to show that you can make this lifestyle a bit of reality. And after phase 1 and after those 30 days is when you are allowed to start phase 2 and phase 3. like phase 1 and 75 hard, it builds on top of each other. It adds a few more tasks. Am I going to do phase 2 and 3? Honestly, I don't know at this point. I would say no, but I said no that I wasn't going to do phase 1 before, and here we are. So I really don't know. I've got a few weeks to think about it, and you know, we'll get back if that's gonna be something that I'm gonna do. But the biggest question that, you know, I've been getting is, would I do it again? You know, would I do 75 hard again? Would I do phase 1 again? I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that. Knowing everything I know now about the challenges that were going to come up during 75 hard in phase 1, I probably would not have started it, at least not have started it when I did. But on the flip side, realizing everything that I've gotten from both of those programs, I would 100% go back and do it. It's the improvements I've seen in myself with, you know, my health, with my relationships, with work, have been tenfold so far. And, you know, I can't wait to see how much more they compound, you know, when I'm doing this for, you know, not just a few months, you know, for a few years, and you know, really making all of these a habit in my life. Lastly, before we wrap up this video, what's going to be going on this channel going forward now that phase 1 is over, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do phase 2 and phase 3. The answer is I'm not 100% sure. I've got some ideas in mind for, you know, some different challenges that I'd like to do personally, and some goals that I would like to record my progress on, and I think I would find interesting. So hopefully you'll find it interesting too. If I'm going to continue uploading every day, I'm not sure at this point. You know, I think for the time being, I'll go down to a couple uploads a week, at least until the new series that I'm thinking about, you know, starts rolling out. I might do a daily progress during that. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody who has, you know, come back and watched the videos. Like I said in my first video, this is really new for me, putting myself out there. I really have had a lot of fun with learning this. It's a lot more difficult than I expected it to be, but it's been a lot of fun. It's not something that I plan on giving up here in the next couple of months, or hopefully even longer. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to see if people enjoy the content. If you do, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know, share your journeys along the way. Would love to hear from you all for, you know, what you're trying to do and kind of what your goals are. But that's it for me for this video. I think I've gone on for long enough. This is already going to be probably the longest video on the channel. So I appreciate everyone who's stuck around. Appreciate everybody who has come back and watched the videos, and we will see you in a few days for what's coming next.